Hey guys, what's up? It's Ethan, and today I am on my driveway. New scenery. This was a really bad idea because it's like freezing outside, and I literally, you're standing on a trash can right now, so you're welcome. My hands are so cold right now. I don't know what temperature it is, but it's so freezing. So I'm gonna tell you about the time that I fell in a grave. I'll start from the beginning. I live on like 20 acres of family land, which used to be 100 and something acres until my grandpa and some of his siblings sold a bunch of it. Dang it. So this land has been in my family since like the 1800s, right? So my great-grandfather bought this family land from a different family like way back when. Can you guys even hear me over the wind? I feel like this is gonna be a really crappy quality video. He had like a little farm kind of thing there. It had a really cute little farmhouse on it, which I don't know that I think we have pictures of it somewhere, but they'd probably be like in a photo box or a photo album. So I'm not really sure if I can find that. I do have a painting of it that someone did. So if I can find the picture of that, I'll include it here. You're welcome. And what I don't think that he really knew when he bought this property is there was a old family graveyard on this property. I'm not really sure if he knew that or not. Like, I can't really ask him because he did. My dog won't shut up. You good? Okay. Chill. So yeah, this graveyard dated back all the way until like, I think the late 1700s, early 1800s. I'm pretty sure. And some of the graves are marked by like actual gravestones, and they're like decently tall, and they look really eerie and really cool at the same time. And some are just marked by rocks, which is scary because like you really don't know which ones are graves and which ones aren't. So like if you see a random rock in the woods, I wouldn't pick it up if it's around that area. And the two biggest like gravestones there are Elizabeth and James. And James plays a very key part in a lot of stories that I have to tell, because a lot of people think that my house is haunted by him, a lot of my friends. And whether it is him or not, I don't know. I'll leave that up to you guys if you want to believe me. But whether you want to believe that or not, I'll leave that up to you. I personally... The wind is really annoying me. I feel like this video is gonna be so bad. Ugh. I never got to meet my great-grandpa. He passed away like way before I was born. Like I said before, like my family divided up the 100 and something acres of property. And so my grandpa and his wife, and then my mom, and then her two siblings, they all got like an area of property, which is where I live now. And my grandpa's, you know, two brothers, sister, they all have like their property with their kids. We kind of got stuck with the side with the graveyard next to it. I don't really think that it's on our property anymore, because when my family sold the property when I was little, they sold it to a neighborhood, which really sucks. I still hate them for it. So mean. They fenced it in, so I believe it's more on their property, so it's not really on like my land anymore. But I say my family property because it used to be, so just clearing that up, you know. Okay, here my house is like right there. I'll put a picture in. Goals, right? No, I'm just kidding. And my cousins live, this driveway that I'm like on right now is like, it goes to my house. And there's another like kind of gravel driveway. It's right there where my finger is right now. And it keeps going back that way, and that's where their house was. They moved like in 2012, but that's where their house used to be. What? I don't know what I'm trying to say anymore, but that's where they used to live. My aunt and uncle, they used to live there. They had 3 kids. They were all older than me. Well, no, at the time they had 2 kids because they adopted one later on. Long story, never mind. So there were 2 girls and then me, and we would always play in the woods, like behind our house, in front of our house, around our house. Like there's lots of fun things, you know, to do in the woods, right? So fast forwarding, you know, like 2008, 2007 maybe, our family and like, you know, our uncle, aunt, grandparents, like everybody, they would always say like, hey, you should look for the graveyard in the woods or whatever, like go on a hunt to find it. And we were like, ooh, that's so cool, a graveyard, right? So we would like, you know, go everywhere to try to like hunt for it, and like we'd look everywhere. We didn't know where to find it, like at all. For the longest time we would like hunt for this graveyard, and we ended up like coming to the conclusion, like as like, you know, months went by, maybe a year or so, a little over that, we were like, okay, they probably like made it up just to like, you know, give us like kids an adventure or something. So we ended up like, you know, giving up on it. Like, okay, it was probably fake, right? Like we ended up forgetting about it like for several years. Now fast forwarding to like 2010, we were in my backyard, and my dad has like a workshop building that he like builds furniture and like restores cars and stuff like that. And, you know, he hangs out in there all the time. So he was like working out there, and we're playing, you know, in our backyard. And one particular day, I don't remember when it was, but my cousin was like, hey, do you remember like that weird like graveyard that our parents would like joke about and stuff? And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah. And then she's like, yeah, that's so weird. I wonder if it was ever real or if they made it up, because we never asked our mom. And I was like, wow, that's so weird. I never asked my mom about it either. And my dad overheard us like talking about it, and he's like, oh, are you guys talking about the graveyard in the woods? And me and my 2 cousins were like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, it's real. It's real. You haven't found it? And we're like, sure, it's not real. And he's like, no, it's for really real. I know how to get there. I can tell you how to get there if you want. And so then we all 3 became like really intrigued, you know. We're like, okay, where is it? And he told us like where to go. And I'll include like some clips from like how he told us to go in just a second. But yeah, so he told us how to get there. You go like halfway down our driveway, and there's like this magnolia tree kind of thing with this weird looking like rock stump thing or something. I really don't know how to explain it, but I'll include videos of it. And then you turn to the right when you're leaving our house, and it goes halfway through the woods, and it should like take you right there. And we're like, oh, okay, like let's go try it. So we went, and we like went to go look for it, and lo and behold, we found this graveyard. And I'm not gonna lie, it was really cool but really eerie at the same time, like especially as kids, because you're like, whoa, this is so weird, like a mysterious graveyard in the woods. Because, you know, normally you're used to seeing like a like established graveyard, you know, like by a church, or like, you know, a legitimate graveyard. It's pretty cool but pretty creepy at the same time. We were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we found it. And like we would go up there like every now and then with our friends, like we would like brag about it to all of our friends, like, oh my gosh, it's real, we actually found it. And they're like, no way. And whenever they would come over, we would like all go out there and be like, see, like it's legit, it's real. And our friends were like shocked and like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. Slowly over time, it just kind of like we just kind of forgot about it. I mean, I grew up, they grew up. My cousins are, the youngest one is 2 years older than me. And then the adopted one is also 2 years older than me, but they weren't around. He wasn't around during this story. The oldest one is probably like 4 years older than me, I think. So there's like a 2-year gap between all of us. Then they moved like 2 years later in 2012 to Texas. You know, I'd just forgotten about it, moved on with my life. Okay, now we're fast forwarding to like 2015, and I don't really remember what like sparked in my head about this. It's gonna sound so random, but like I noticed like I kept noticing odd random things around my house, which this is gonna sound crazy to some people, but like whatever. Most of the doors in my house would randomly open by themselves if they were completely closed. Like the doorknobs would turn, and we don't have like round doorknobs, we have like the push doorknobs. So you'd have to pull down and push. And like they would just open like really fast. It wasn't like the wind blew them open or something. And sometimes they would slam by themselves too, which is really freaky because normally if a door closes and like no one's there, they like just slowly close, but they would like slam and it would freak me out all the time. And lights would go on and off and you'd hear weird noises and bumps and scratches on the wall, all sorts of creepy things. Ugh, I hate it. And still every now and then that happens, but not as bad as like 2015, 2016. And I would always hear noises in the basement, and my basement is not finished, so that makes it like 10 times creepier to me. And one day, like, I was watching the wind. Oh my gosh. I feel like you guys can't hear me. I'm really sorry if this video turns out to be really crappy. I may not even post it for that reason. One day I was like watching, I don't know what it was, like some show or something, and it had like an old graveyard in it. And then I just kind of remembered like, oh my gosh, that graveyard. But I mean, it didn't really cross my mind that like, oh, my house is haunted by like a ghost. It's gonna kill me, you know, whatever. And you know, I told some of my friends about it that like didn't know about it and stuff like that. I had newer friends, and you know, they would make a joke every time something bad or crazy or weird would happen in my house. They're like, oh my gosh, your house is haunted by like that creepy graveyard. And like, at first I didn't, you know, like put it together like that. And I was like, oh yeah, like, ha, funny. And we would just make a joke about it, you know. We didn't really, I don't believe in the paranormal. Now I'm skeptical. No, but for real. So yeah, then it became a joke, like after I showed. So I told my friends, you know, I can't speak. So yeah, after I told them like about the, you know, graveyard, and I told them that the biggest gravestone was like James and stuff. And so it became a joke like, oh, James is haunting your house. Like, that's so scary. And we would like make jokes about it, laugh about it, whatever. But apparently it wasn't a joke. One day, this, I don't know if it has anything to do with it, which to be honest, there's probably a logical explanation for this, but it still freaked me out. I woke up to someone like pushing on my neck, which really scared me. I didn't see anybody, but it was dark, obviously. And I woke up like, and my neck was burning. So I ran to the bathroom, and it looked like there was like, it was just 3 scratch marks, but they were going upward. You know how you can usually tell, like if you get scratched, you can tell what angle it came from. They were going upward on both sides of my neck, 3 of them in a row. And I thought that was really weird and really freaky, and it freaked me out, and it like stayed red and irritated for like half the day. And I literally swear that's 100% true. I'm not kidding. I used to have a picture of it, but I think it's on my old computer somewhere, and it would take me years to find it because I have too many photos anyway. But I promise you, take my word for it, I'm serious. I forgot to mention also my great-grandfather's old like farmhouse that he had bought or whatever. Oh my God, it's legit snowing. Not again. But anyway, I forgot to mention my great-grandfather's like old farmhouse that he had bought from this family. I forgot to mention their family was the same family that was like, they owned the graveyard or whatever, or like not owned the graveyard, but like that was their family graveyard. When they bought like the property over there for the neighborhood development and stuff, they had ended up tearing down my great-grandfather's old house, and we got a lot of the old wood and old beams from it because it was really pretty. And my dad made lots of furniture, and our front door is actually from that house too, which all of this, like, maybe it plays a role in the haunting. I don't know. Could be James furniture, James's wood, or yep, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Then like I began to be skeptical on if like this whole like creepy haunting paranormal stuff was real or not. And of course I never messed with anything like that. Like, that's not how I roll. I don't do that. Like, no Ouija boards, no spirit box, no craziness like that. Like, no thank you. So I like was scared to go to the graveyard. Like, I didn't want to do it for the longest time. Oh, one thing, I'll just add this in for fun. I forgot I made a note of this. When I was home alone, my bedroom door opened like to a crack, just barely, for like a couple of seconds. And then it like closed itself automatically, and like it was really slow, so it almost looked like someone had to pull it closed, because you know how like a door has to close and you kind of, it has to have like force to like all the way close. So yeah, it was really scary. It was really freaky and really stressful, and I hated it. And so one day, I don't know for what reason I did this to me, but I decided to go back to the graveyard. I was gonna try and like subtly say like, hey, stop, like this is not okay, if it was real or not, just in case, you know, like I didn't know. So I get there and I'm like walking around this graveyard like, hey, like if you're real, like stop messing with me, this is not okay. Probably looked like a psycho talking in the middle of the woods. And as I got to James's grave, I had walked around the back side of it, and the way this graveyard was set up, I thought it was really weird. Like I did not know this at first until I, you know, so normal, or like not normal, I guess. So like typical graveyards, or at least where I'm from, if this is like a gravestone and the words would be like right here, the bodies would be buried like underneath where the words are. But this graveyard, the bodies were buried on the back side, so the words would be like over here and the body would be behind it, which I thought was really weird. Like I don't know if that's normal. I didn't think it was, but maybe it was back then. So I thought I was being a nice person, not stepping on any of the graves, but I probably literally stepped on every single grave there. And as I got to James's grave, I walked around what I thought was the back, which was really the front, and I stepped down and I fell through the floor, like, or the ground, like knee deep. It was like maybe to here, like at my knee. So like that much of me was underground. I remember like screaming, and I was freaking out. Like, I mean, I wasn't like screaming because I didn't want like the neighbors to hear me and like freak out. But like I did scream. Literally like pulled myself up as fast as possible. I probably looked like a psycho. Like if someone looked out their window and saw like some person climbing out of a grave, they'd be like, oh my God, zombie. Just, I kept running back to my house. I didn't look back, and I didn't fall far enough to where you could see like bones or like something creepy like that. But I mean, he was buried in like the early 1800s. So like they probably had wood coffins back then, right? I'm assuming, I don't know. And wood rots, right? And doesn't like the moisture cause like bones and stuff to rise? So I could have been like that close to stepping on a skull. Like, no big. I actually never told my family about this at all. None of my family knows about this. My sister might know about it. I don't know. But I mean, surprise. I did tell some of my like extremely close friends, and they believe me, thank God. And I promise you I'm telling the 100% truth. Like I would never make this up. It was really scary. Also, the crazy fact about the furniture, bringing that up earlier, is my dad, like I said before, he made furniture, he makes furniture and stuff like that. Basically every wood piece of furniture in my house was made by him and carved by him. Our coffee table, our TV stand upstairs, and our door, and I'm sure lots of other stuff, but I'd have to go and like make a list or something, is made from the wood from James's old house. So if that's not scary enough for you. So yeah, that's the time I fell in a grave. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this video wasn't too long. I know it's probably gonna be really, really long because I mean, there's not much that I can actually cut out to like not edit. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Turn the notification bell on so you can know when I post and watch my videos right when I post them, because I love it when you guys do that. It makes me happy. So yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Bye guys.